This Sunday, March 19th at 3 o'clock at the Lutheran Church of the Cross, the Mennonite Community Orchestra will be performing a concert that they are calling The Power of Conversation, featuring the music of Liszt, Schumann, and a Winnipeg premiere of a terrific symphony by the Danish composer Niels Gade. This concert will feature pianist Anna Schwartz in a performance of the first movement to Schumann's A minor piano concerto. And joining me here over Zoom to talk about this Sunday's concert, I am joined by the Mennonite Community Orchestra's conductor, Andrea Bell, and the pianist for Sunday, Anna Schwartz. Hi, Anna and Andrea. It's great to see you again here over Zoom.
Hi, Chris. Thanks for having us.
Mm-hmm. So the concert that the MCO is performing in is called The Power of Conversation. The concert in November was called The Power of Love. I'm sensing a theme here. Andrea, can you talk about how this Sunday's concert program came together? Was it you who selected the music, or was it a board? How does that work?
Yeah, so the Mennonite Community Orchestra has a board, and we have various committees. And one of the committees, there is a repertoire committee, and it's such a great committee to be on because there's so many fantastic ideas that people are putting forth for repertoire. So some of the repertoire on this program I had never played, never conducted. So I was super thrilled to have us do the Gade Symphony. I think I just love it. Like, I did not know it at all, and I am a big fan now. I absolutely love it.
Yeah, it's such a great symphony. It reminds me a lot, actually, of his good friend Felix Mendelssohn. When you were studying the score, were there any surprises for you or things that you needed to be aware of when you were learning the score for Gade's Third Symphony?
Well, there was nothing. It's like, it seems very, like, it just flows, and it's got exciting parts and beautiful, gorgeous melodies, and at times it just blasts along with, fury. And it's very fun to play. But there's some cool stories too about Gade, like that he was, let's see, I think it kind of ties in with the piano concerto, because he conducted the premiere of Schumann's piano concerto with Clara playing. There's some
Okay.
cool stuff like that where I was like, I had no idea, and I started reading. That's so amazing. That's so cool. Did you know that, Anna? I'm not sure we talked about that.
I did actually, yeah. It's one of the meaningful things actually for me about the Schumann concerto is that it was Clara Schumann who was playing the premiere of it. That for me, as like a young professional female musician, just to have that connection is really like intentional for me.
Mm-hmm. And there's just some great string writing in that Gade Third. And I find it interesting how the winds are, there's some soloistic sections, but he sort of works them into the texture as well, right, Andrea?
Yeah, totally. There's such beautiful string melodies, and yeah, the winds just flow through as part of they're just, it's part of the team. It's just such a great symphony. I love it.
Mm-hmm. And I'm going to turn it over to you. How did you get the opportunity to perform the first movement of the Schumann A minor with the MCO? Can you talk about that, how that came together?
Yeah, absolutely. So CMU, Canadian Mennonite University, has an annual music competition that they do every year. It's called the Verna May Jansen Music Competition. They've had it for many, many years at the school. Originally, it was a competition only for voice students, so students studying voice at CMU. But in the last few years, they've opened it up to instrumentalists and pianists as well. And so it's a competition that we hold in March of every year. And the winner of that competition, as part of the prize package, part of that is performing as a soloist with an orchestra, in our case, the Mennonite Community Orchestra. So last year, in March of 2022, I was fortunate enough to win that competition. And so, yeah, as a part of that, I am now performing as a soloist with the MCO. But actually, my connections with the MCO go back much farther than March of last year. I've been on their board for many years as a student representative from CMU. And they also actually premiered one of my orchestral compositions that I wrote last year called Prairie Sunrise. So it's so like exciting and meaningful for me to be a soloist this year. I'm graduating from CMU this year, so it feels like a real like culmination of a lot of things that I've worked on and worked towards in my degree.
Yeah, that sounds great. How long exactly have you been working on the Schumann A minor? Like, when did you start learning it?
Yeah, probably since about June. So it's been about 8 months or so now. The process for learning a concerto was a new one for me. I've listened to concertos for a long time, but actually sitting down with the score and being like, okay, where is my part in all of this? Like as a
Yeah.
pianist and as the soloist, what is my role in this scenario? It was like a really exciting and like new challenge as a piano student to navigate that and be like, okay, how do I practice this? Like, what do I do when the orchestra is playing and I'm just sitting there and
Mhm.
all of these like extra like layers of interest in the music. It was really cool.
Yeah, and one of the things that's so great about that first movement of the concerto is he really explores, the contrast. There's the stormy beginning, and then there's the sort of more Eusebius, sort of melancholic sections. When you're practicing it in the practice room, do you have to change how loud you're playing things, thinking in particular of the softer sections as opposed to when you're playing it with full orchestra? Like, how did you approach that?
Oh, that's an interesting question. I think for me, like one of the biggest things in the Schumann is like how melodic it is in the
Mm,
piano and the orchestra. And so one of the things that I've been working at a lot is bringing out that melody, especially in the piano part when I'm on my own.
right.
And then also, yeah, like the differences between when am I by myself and there's this melody that I have to bring out over top of the other things that I'm playing. And then
Mhm.
that contrasting with what do I do when I have the melody, but the orchestra is playing? And then also, what do I do when the orchestra has the melody, but I'm still playing underneath? Like there's all of these different components of the music. But I find for me, the overarching sense is like, where is the tune? Like, where is the thing that people are hearing soaring over top of all of the other components of the piece?
Mhm. It sounds fantastic. Andrea, the orchestra is going to be doing Liszt's Second Hungarian Rhapsody. It's a real barn burner of a piece for the entire orchestra. What's it like to conduct that piece? I mean, there's so much rubato and there's so much playing around with time. It's almost like the conductor has to have the orchestra hanging off their fingertips. What's that? What's it like conducting the orchestra
Yeah,
for that?
this is a challenging one for me to conduct. I love this piece so much. I've certainly like back in the day I've conducted lots of youth orchestra arrangements of it and stuff, but this is one of the original arrangements
Mm,
for orchestra, and it is just so much fun to conduct. But it's definitely keeps you on your toes, and it's a little bit humbling when you're like, yes, I am trying to show what I want and I don't need to talk about it. I just want to show it. So that is
yeah.
a challenge to sort of see what needs to be done and sort of keeping it clean and concise, and so that it's people are able to follow. So it's not about what you look like. It's just you got to just keep it clean and keep
Yeah.
everybody moving. But the orchestra sounds amazing. It's just
Oh, it's great.
the clarinet solos that Norman's playing are amazing. The orchestra sounds fantastic. I'm just so excited to be working with them, and I think everybody's having lots of fun with that one because it's just so fun and famous. It's kind of hard not to love it.
Yeah, absolutely. For our Classic 107 listeners, a Norm she's making reference to is one of my clarinet students. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm glad he's sounding so good. There's another piece on the program by Winnipegger Liam Barry. I don't know him and I don't know this piece. I'll get either of you to answer this. What is the piece and who is Liam Barry? And I think Anna, you have a better knowledge of this, like who he is. You're friends with him. Can you talk about him a little bit?
Yeah, for sure. So Liam and I have been colleagues at CMU for several years now, and we are great friends. We're both composers. We're both composition students here, so we've known each other in that capacity for a while. He is a Winnipeg composer. He has done several compositions for video games. He's a big video game composer. He's composed for some short films and won some awards for some of his film scoring. And the piece that he's doing with the MCO, I believe it's called Barham Down. And it's his writing is so interesting to me because a lot of times you hear sort of like these living composers and they have this music that is so like dissonant. It's so like clashy and there's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
all kinds of like crazy dissonance going on and it sounds kind of wild. But Liam's music is quite often actually a lot more tonal. Like it's very listenable is sort of like the word I like to use for his work. So there's a lot of like, again, like long lines happening in the string parts and in the woodwind parts for this piece. And yeah, I was actually, Liam did a read through of this piece with an orchestra. I think about a year ago, and I was there for that reading session. And yeah, it's just a fantastic piece. Like there's just sort of this sonority of sound that comes out of it. That's just really fantastic.
And Andrea, what's it like to conduct it?
Oh,
what's it like
it's
for
such a
you?
great piece. Yeah, it's very, yeah, as Anna said, very tonal, very gorgeous, and it's really layered, beautiful melodies. There's, it's based on, his sort of subtitle is a fantasy on an English folk tune, and it definitely has that beautiful, you can imagine the little drums, like the cellos are acting as beautiful drums doing that rhythms and these soaring melodies that seem very ancient, but a little twist of modern. Gorgeous.
It sounds like it's going to be a fantastic concert. Where can people get tickets? Andrea, can you talk to that a little bit?
Yeah, so you can buy tickets from orchestra members. You can get them at the door. It's $20 for adults, $10 for students, and I think it's free under 12. And I think you can also email the Mennonite Community Orchestra. If you check out the website, you can get tickets through there as well.
And for our Classic 107 listeners, I've provided a direct link to the Mennonite Community Orchestra's website in the article that I've written about the concert that you can now find, that is up on classic107.com. Andrea and Anna, thanks for taking the time to talk to me today. This has just been a lot of fun. Thanks again.
Thanks so much, Chris.
Thanks so much.